Welcome. If you're a podcaster, thought leader, and/or entrepreneur, this video will be just for you because today we're going to be talking about reaching out to people so that way you can put your message, your business out there for people to learn more about everything that you're doing. I'm your host. My name is Terryl Humphrey, and welcome to the Phase Knowledge Podcast. And here in this episode, we're going to be speaking about reaching out and the goal of today. The reason why this is so important, because if you're going to be in business, you have to reach out to people. A lot of times people are not going to reach out to you, which is absolutely okay. In addition to that, when you reach out to people, this is called cold outreach. So my goal today is to really talk about what I'm going to do what I'm going to talk about, and then come back tomorrow and explain the results that I have accomplished. So first thing first, welcome. Elijah, what it do, bro? What's going on, man? Hey, man, good to see you, bro. So first thing first, I'm doing a 90-day challenge again, but this time it's a lot different because I have a better understanding of what I'm doing. I'm no longer second guessing myself. I'm no longer doubting, like, do I actually have a business? Do I actually have a problem that I can solve? And so when I started to really understand, like, man, it's a process that you have to go through. It's a process that I've been going through for the last half a decade. And so today we're going to talk about it. And if you don't have your pen, if you don't have your notebook, go ahead and get it out, because today we are going to be talking about cold outreach. So first thing first, what is cold outreach? Cold outreach is basically calling people who don't know you, do not know you, or expect a call from you. So when I was in real estate, I started cold calling, and during that process, it was really hard for me to understand, like, man, how are people closing deals? How are people closing transactions? And it wasn't until like later on that cold calling is so important, because you have to reach out to people who are not expecting you. Although posting on social media, running ads, and doing all these different things is great, that doesn't lead the person to take action right then and there. What it does do is just it creates attention. It creates some type of awareness of the business that you're doing and the problem that you're solving. My biggest challenge the first couple of times was that I was only focusing on posting. I was only focusing on doing a podcast, which is not bad. In addition to that, if I want to grow a business, I have to take the extra step. I have to take the extra mile. I have to really do it to the point where I can reach out to a lot of people. I've done 894 podcast episodes, and I didn't recognize, like, when I was getting people onto the platform, I had to cold outreach a lot of people. Some people I knew, but majority of people I did not know. And a lot of people was like, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll do the podcast, and the podcast came out good. The conversation was great. And when I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, man, like, how was I able to do that? And I didn't even recognize that is a form of cold calling. That is a form of cold marketing. That is a form of marketing yourself to people who don't know who you are. When I started to recognize, I'm like, wait, hold on. There's something here. Basically, recently, when I recently started to discover that there's something here, that something here became really important. The podcast is one aspect of it, but if I want to help podcasters grow their audience, I have to really position it as helping them launch, edit, and manage their podcast. So first I have to identify the problem. As I identify the problem that I'm identifying is something that a lot of people struggle with. But if you don't identify with that problem, you're not going to say that you struggle with that problem. And so my biggest challenge, my biggest thing was like, oh, okay, cool. How can I speak to more people? That's when I started running Facebook advertisements. That's when I started, like, spending money on paid ads and then getting results faster. Here's the thing about that. Okay, hold on. Here's the thing about spending money. Paid ads, hold on, it's in the word, costs money. Paid ads cost money. Why? Because people are literally clicking, going to your website, filling out the form, and doing that. Whereas when you're cold outreach and you don't have the money for advertisements, which I don't at this moment, you have to literally reach out to them and see if they're interested in purchasing what you have to offer. So Why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because when I do have the funds to put in paid advertisement, it should be to feed what's already working, what's already established. And so it was like, all right, cool. How can I do that? How can I do that? Well, I can do that by literally reaching out to people, by literally going to different Facebook groups, different communities, people who might have said anything about podcasts, and just ask, like, do you know anyone who's struggling with their podcast? Why am I talking about this now? Because I'm literally going to be working on it today. As soon as I get done, as soon as I get to the office today, I'm going to be reaching out to people because I already have things in place. I already have my webinar. I have my presentation. I have different things that in place to the point where all I have to do is reach out to them. If they say yes, send them a link, and it's like, well, now I just have to copy and paste. Why is it important? That's important because since I'm a startup business owner and I'm starting a podcast production business, I don't have that many customers. And that is absolutely fine. Everyone starts at some point. But my goal is to not only start with not a lot of customers, but get to the point where I have some customers who are paying, who are literally paying for us to work on their podcast. And so what this is going to do is going to give me the confidence to show up every single day. If I reach out to X amount of people every single day, I should get X amount of results. And until I do that, I will have the ideal numbers that I'm looking for. What I discovered over the last half a decade, even when I was working with my mentor, shout out to Mike and Briglio, Steve Anderson, they taught me the importance of cold calling. You have to call these people, but you have to have a process behind the call. That's the hold on. When you call people, you have to have steps to follow. That when you have steps to follow, when you have steps to follow, comma, you have a script. In business, having a script to follow, in other words, a process. Yesterday I talked about sales process. In other words, a plan to map your conversation makes a difference. And when I was trying to figure out like how to do that, it didn't make sense. But now it makes sense. And the reason why it makes sense, because if you don't follow the steps every single time, if you don't follow the format every single time, you will be winging it. You'll be going off of different random conversations, which I've done multiple different times. Nonetheless, now that I'm putting things in place, I'm putting scripts in place, it's like, well, now that you have this, now you just need to reach out to more people. It's the development that takes a while. It's the processes that take a while. It's the systems that take a while. It's the scripts that take a while. Why? Because you have to do things that work. I'll give you a prime example. With the Phase Knowledge podcast, before people come onto the platform, I had to literally create the emails, create the format, send notifications out to the point where they can be more informed of the podcast before the conversation. There's a thing called Calendly. Use Calendly to schedule the meetings. And so that way it's like, well, this is already set, but since this is set, I have to go get people so people can start scheduling. That's a form of marketing. That's a form of cold outreach. It's set up. Hold on. It's set up. And just because it's set up doesn't mean people are going to come and click it if there's no call to action. Call to action is like follow this button, follow this podcast, or subscribe. That's a call to action. If you don't have a call to action every time you do something, you're missing an opportunity. I rarely had any call to actions. In fact, I'm going to start doing like a call to action in the podcast. So that way, like if you're a podcaster struggling to grow your audience and you need help growing your podcast, shoot us a message so that way we can help you with confidence. You see, the call to action is the problem that we solve. In cold outreach, you have to understand a problem that you are solving. Now that I'm doing another 90-day challenge to grow a podcast business, I'm learning the importance of solving one problem consistently. If I solve this problem by doing the problem, by demonstrating the problem that I'm solving won't be overwhelming. It will be something that we do on a daily basis. Why? Because we are literally showing what we are doing. We are literally showing how to do it. And when we do this, we have an advantage. Why? Because to grow your podcast, you have to have a format, a system, and consistency. Consistency is what makes a difference. Consistency is what creates the rewards. Consistency is what creates a business. So if I reach out to 10 people every single day and I need to reach out to 100 people before I get my goal, I would need to reach out to 10 people every single day for the following 10 days in order to reach 10 people. Okay, hold on. Let me write that down. What's going on, Connor? Appreciate you for joining in. So if I need to reach out to 10 people, 100 people, and every day I reach out to 10 people for 10 days. So every day 10 people for 10 days equals 100 people. What if I reach out to 20 people in 5 days? What if I reach out to 20 people in 5 days? And in 5 days, I reach 100 people. What if I reach out to, let's say, 45 people per day? And my goal is 100. That's 2 days, two and a half days. 2.5 days. What I started to recognize, and what I'm recognizing right now, is that the cold outreach, it matters the amount of people that you're speaking with, because people say this often, and it finally made sense like the other day. Sales is a numbers game. In other words, the more people you reach out to, the more opportunities you will gain. Okay. My challenge was I wasn't reaching out to enough people. And I'm like, man, I just need to post more content. Yes, I need to do more podcasts. Yes, I need to do all these different things. Yes, that's a factor. But if I'm not reaching out to nobody to solve the problem that they potentially have, or know anybody that have that problem, I'm not in business. I'm just creating content. When I started to learn, I need to learn the other side of business, which is when I know the creative or the skill. And now I need to learn how to sell, how to market, how to talk to customers, how to have a system, how to follow up, how to have steps, all these different things. The creative is knowing how to podcast, knowing how to edit, knowing how to distribute the podcast, how to post it, how to organize your podcast. See, there's two different sides. Kind of like you got a coin and you got one side heads and the other side tails. If you flip it, there's a 50-50 chance it's going to land on heads and or tails. I did a video a while ago and it was like heads or tails. And in this video, you have two options. A lot of times the option that you have is not as clear because I wasn't clear. And when I started to understand, I'm like, all right, cool. Some problems, I need to identify the problem I'm solving and solve this problem. If I reach out to more people, I'll be able to help more people with their podcasts. If I don't reach out to anybody, I'm not helping nobody because I'm not even in business. Reaching out to people causes a plan, like it causes you to have a plan around everything that you're doing. Bro, I forgot your name. Nate Arm. Oh dang, I forgot your name. Drop your name in the chat again, bro. Kind of say iron sharpens iron. That's scripture. What is that scripture? I forgot the scripture. Iron sharpens iron. I forgot the scripture. I digress. If I reach out to enough people, I can be in business. But see, here's the thing. The last couple of times I was doing the 90-day challenge, I didn't know the problem I was solving. I kept changing. I kept pivoting. Like the business that I was in, I was trying to figure it out. And as I was figuring out, I literally had to change so many different times. I had to change because I was unsure of what I was doing. I had no steps to follow. I had no process to follow. I had no systems to follow. I had no scripts to follow. I had no way of doing business to follow. Like I literally was figuring it out. The reason why this time is different, because I'm no longer putting the things in place. The things are already in place. I'm just executing. I'm just taking action. I'm going to be reaching out to more people. So if I reach out to 40 people within 2.5 days, let's just say 2 people responds back. If 2 people respond back, then that means I need to increase the amount of people that I'm reaching out to. But before that even happens, I have to reach out to a lot of people. And I'm okay with that. I'm literally okay with that. And so now I understand the problem. See, in business, if you don't understand the problem that you're solving, the problem that you're solving would be confusing. And when I got into business, the problem that I was solving was so confusing because I had no idea of the problem that I was solving. Now I understand the problem. I'm not second guessing myself. I have the systems, I have the steps, I have the process, I have all these different things for the business side of it. I know what I'm going to charge, how much I'm going to charge, how long I'm going to charge it for. When I developed that, it was like, oh man, a sense of relief. It's kind of like when I was in the Marine Corps, we had hiking bag, a bag with a lot of weight on it. And in the bag, it had everything that we needed. Our clothes, our food, our sleeping gear, our whatever, other clothes, other pair of clothes, other like whatever you need, it was in that bag. But you only can have what was in the bag. When we got the hiking, we had to carry the weight on our back. And when we got to going up the hill and got the hiking across where we was going, we literally had to carry that heavy bag everywhere. When we got to our location, and it was like, drop the packs, I literally dropped the weight from my back. See, when you have a process that you can follow, the weight naturally comes off because you're no longer second guessing yourself. I no longer started to second guess myself because now I have a way of doing things. Now I have a way of podcasting. Now I have a way of following up. Now I'm learning to execute based off the weight that was dropped. Why? Because there's so many different things that business consists of. And if I'm not speaking to enough people, I'm not in business. I was like, oh man. It gave me a different perspective. When you reach out to people, you are reaching out to people asking if they have a problem that you solve. And when it seems so simple, yet it's so difficult when you don't understand the problem that you're solving. In real estate, you're selling, or you're trying to buy a house and or selling the house. I was doing real estate wholesaling. It's not the fact that you're buying or selling the house. It's you're literally solving a problem. I didn't know you had to learn what problem that they was going through in order for you to solve that problem. That's why I did codes on sales, because I'm like, man, what problem am I solving? There's no problem I can solve. I didn't even know it was called problems. I just thought it was called having a conversation. And then when you communicate with them, it's like, well, what does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. And Proverbs 27:17. Yes, sir. You just reminded me. I appreciate that, Connor. My brother. Amen. You're one solid brother, top of morning, fired at hot sauce. I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it, Connor. And likewise, bro. Proverbs 27:17. Cold outreach is nerve-wracking because you never know if they're gonna respond. That's the next point I want to hit on. You never know when they're gonna respond, but you have to keep doing it. You never know if they will. You never know if they will respond. You never if they would respond. So what this means is that, let's just go back to the example of 100 people just to keep it simple. If I reached out to them within 2.5 days. And let's just say 10 people responded. By responding, they saying yes, no, whatever case is. But 90 people did not respond. So in other words, you reached out to 100 people, let's just say 10. You reached out to 10 people, 9 people didn't respond, but 1 did. When hold on, let me come back to the screen. Hold on, let me come back to the screen. You reach out to 10 people, 9 people don't respond, yet 1 person does. You're reaching out to people who don't know you're reaching out to them. Yet if you reach out to them, you never know who's going to respond. In addition to that, you never know when they are going to respond. That was the thing that I was missing. I literally was like, man, why am I not good at this? Like everybody else is closing sales, like they're getting deals, they're in business. One, I didn't recognize the problem I was solving. Two, I wasn't communicating often. Like I wasn't reaching out a lot. And I started to recognize, I was like, man, is it me? Am I the problem? Am I the problem? Or do I just not understand what I'm doing? So over the last half a decade, I've been learning what I'm doing to gain a better understanding of how to help podcasters grow their audience. The problem has to be the focus, and the solution is your solution to your business. It's when you discover that problem that you are solving, you have to do it consistently by reaching out to people. It gave me a sense of relief, like, man, I think I figured it out. You see, I figured it out because I stopped second guessing myself, and I keep emphasizing second guessing myself. Why? Because now I know I need to reach out. I'm going to reach out, and I have a way of reaching out. I know the problem I'm solving. In addition to that, just because 9 people don't respond today and then one person did, doesn't mean that they will not respond. It means that they are busy. And when 9 people out of 10 people don't respond, that means they are busy. And I started to learn, somebody said this, I don't know who said it, but when they said it, it didn't make no sense. But then when I got more into business, it was like, oh, that's why you said that. Don't take it personal. They say business is not personal. You're not supposed to take business personal. Like, you're not supposed to get your feelings when things doesn't happen. And trying to figure out why people kept saying that, I'm like, what does that even mean? How are you not supposed to take it personal? They not even answer the phone. Like, I'm calling them, but nobody's answering. It doesn't mean that you have to take it personal. What it does mean is that you have to keep reaching out. Hold on. You have to keep reaching out. Yesterday, I talked about touch points. And in this, you never know when they're going to respond. So in other words, you have to keep reaching out. Why? Because you never know when they're going to respond. I literally remember reaching out to a guest that I wanted to have a podcast with, and I didn't get a response within, let's just say I reached out to him today, and then I reached out to him tomorrow, no response. I reached out to him next week, no response. I reached out to him 2 weeks from now, no response. I reached out to him 4 weeks from now, no response. I reached out to him for a month, no response. I reached out to him a month and a half, response. It's the consistency that makes a difference because people are busy. When I started to recognize I'm getting people onto the podcast, it was like, all right, cool. How can I make money from this? I wasn't able to make money from it because I didn't know the problem that I was solving. I was just having conversations. Conversations was great. Learned a lot. Nonetheless, I didn't have nothing to offer. I didn't have nothing to sell. I didn't have no solution to solve the problem that they potentially had. When I start to really get involved with business and understand, like, man, I'm getting people to reach out. I'm reaching out. People saying yes, people saying no. People are not responding. People are responding. But what if I continue to reach out to those who don't respond in addition to the people who are responding? It gave me a sense of like, ooh, this is actually working. Hold on. This is actually working. It's working because I'm doing the work. Okay. You never know when they're going to respond. And I learned this in doing a sales presentation, and how they was teaching on the amount of times you have to reach out to people before they even take action with you, before they even learn more about you, before they even just be involved with your company, with your business. And then that was like, when you incorporate content in your business, they should be able to learn what you do. Not only what you do, but how you do it. But when they learn how you do it, they have to feel the problem that you can solve. My biggest thing over the last half a decade, I didn't know the problem that I was solving. So I was just out there just creating random content. I was just out there doing random things. But that didn't grow the business. That didn't create no revenue. That didn't do anything for me. But what it did do is that it gave me a sense of learning how to market, learning how to solve the problem, learning how to identify the solution to solve this problem. When I started to focus on the problem. In fact, recently I got more clear behind the problem because I'm receiving feedback. I'm hearing what people are saying. It doesn't make sense. Does it not make sense? Oh, it makes sense now. When it makes sense, it was like, okay, now I have a better understanding. The understanding that I have is something that I was looking to gain. The problem that I solve is helping podcasters grow their helping podcasters grow their audience by launching, editing, and managing their podcasts. Why? Because that is a problem that a lot of people have. And when I continue to reach out, I'll be able to confirm with different numbers and whatnot. Nonetheless, come to say, do your homework, make a cheat sheet, be a sponge. Hey man, that's powerful. Cheat sheet in sales, in business, is literally helping you refer back to things that you don't even know that you need it, but it's there until you need it. Creating that is the challenge. Creating that is the challenge. And I tell you, reaching out to people who you never know who's going to respond, you have to continue to reach out to people so they can have an opportunity to respond. As I'm saying this, I'm actually about to do this today, and I'm going to talk about the results tomorrow. And then when I talk about the results tomorrow, I'm going to explain why I did particular action today. I'm going to post today. I'm going to reach out today. I'm going to follow up today. Why? These are the things I need to focus on. It's not a lot of things. I don't need to be doing so many different things to the point where my attention is spread thin. I need to focus down to the point where I can continue to do it consistently. And what we focus on this challenge is social media, podcast, and webinar. Why? Because social media feeds the web. Social media? No, podcast, social media, webinar. Podcast feed social media feed the webinar feed podcast, podcast feed social media feed webinar. Why? The more people are learning more about everything that podcasts consist of, you are able to literally able to learn how to podcast. So that's my goal. Demonstrate, educate, solve the problem. I don't need to be doing so many different things. I need to be reaching out to people consistently. That's what we're going to be doing today. Last point that I want to talk about is that you have to reach out. Come back to the screen. Reach out consistently. What this would do for you is that it will remove the guesswork. It will remove the not having a plan to follow. In addition to that, when you reach out consistently, hold on. Let's just go back to the paper. Okay, you got 10 people, 9 people don't respond. 1 person responds. 1 person responds. So now, if I want to get to 100 people, let's just keep it simple. If I want to talk to 10 people, because 10 people responds. 10 people responded. Hold on, there we go. If I want to talk to 10 people, because 10 people responds, I will need to speak to 100 total people. In other words, reach out to 100 people. Okay. Why is that important? That's critical. That's important because you never know who's going to respond. When you reach out to people consistently, you are literally putting yourself out there on a consistent basis. Every single day you reach out to people, and that's what I'm about to start doing, reaching out to people on a consistent basis. So that way, like, I can potentially have more results based off me reaching out to people. What this would do for me is that it will help me identify different numbers and different ways of helping others. How this will not only help me grow a podcast production business to help podcasters grow their audience is by having a system. It's by having a blueprint. It's by having a way of doing business. when I reach out to people consistently, when I post content consistently, when I do the work consistently, results will naturally come because I'm the one doing the work. This challenge is a way for me to show up every single day, regardless of the outcome. Yes, the outcome, the goal is to make $100,000 within the next 90 days. Nonetheless, the goal is to really do this every single day to the point where I can have the results come. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week. What about 2-3 weeks from now? What about 5-6 weeks from now? Based off the work that I'm doing today, I'm literally going to be doing social media. I'm going to be doing outreach. I'm going to be doing podcasts. In addition to that, I'm going to add the emails. Like I have to do a lot of communicating. I have to reach out to people. There's things called touch points I talked about yesterday. You have to be in front of your customers so many different times. You never know where your customer's going to come from, but you have to say the message over and over and over again. There's a video or saying that says, what is it called? It's from Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee said, don't be afraid of the person who practiced 10,000 kicks. In other words, you got 10,000 kicks, right? He said, be afraid of the person who practiced one kick 10,000 times. Why? Because that one person just developed a system on how to be more effective. That person just developed a system on how to be more efficient. That person just developed a system on how to be more consistent. When a person focuses on something 10,000 times, they literally understand the skill behind it. When I started to understand that for myself, I was like, hold on. Although I produced over 894 podcast episodes, there's a system behind it. There's a blueprint behind it. There's a plan behind it. I'm not just randomly doing it. I'm literally figuring it out on the go, but I'm still doing the same exact thing. The reason why this is so important, hold on. The reason why this is so important, because if I want to have a podcast production business who help podcasters grow their audience, I have to go to people who already have a podcast. I have to go to podcasters who are thinking about podcasting. I have to go to people who say, man, I want to do this, but guess what? I don't know where to start. It's no longer guessing no more. Because a person who practiced something 10,000 times is the person to be afraid of. Because that person has developed systems, that person has developed steps, that person has developed a blueprint, that person has developed a plan, that person has reiterated their plan or readjusted their plan, that person did not give up, that person persevered, that person did all these different things. The person failed. The person has done so many different things, but he didn't let that failure stop him from achieving his goal. This idea just came to me. The story. What's his name? Thomas Edison. The guy who created the light bulb. He was like, he didn't fail 10,000 times. He said he found 10,000 ways to create this light bulb. You see, that's a man with a plan. That's a man with a vision. That's a man who had persevered through the failure. You're not failing, you're learning. The more you speak out to people, you're learning how to communicate with them effectively. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be posting on social media today. I'm doing a podcast today. I'm going to be sending out a email. I'm going to be sending out email to my email list. In addition to that, I'm going to be reaching out to people to ask, hey, do you know anyone who's interested in launching their podcast or who has struggled? So that way, I'm reaching out to people. I have a template. I have a blueprint. I have a plan. So this has been great. Let me know let me know. Hit that follow button. Make sure you hit that follow button because I'm taking you along a journey of growing a podcast business, making $100,000 within the next 90 days. And I'm going to be talking about everything that we are going to be doing. In addition to that, the things that we have been doing to the point where we can actually grow a podcast business. So make sure you follow, hit that subscribe because this is something that's really, really impactful. So this is day number 2. Let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway from this live on why reaching out is so important. So to recap before we get off, we talked about, we talked about Reach out to people. First thing we talked about was cold outreach. Cold outreach is where you reach out to people and they are not expecting you. You have a scheduled appointment or nothing of that nature. The next thing that we talk about is that 100 people. No, that wasn't the second thing. The second thing we talked about is you never know who's going to respond. So the more people you speak with, the more people you give opportunity to respond to. And the last thing we talked about is you have to reach out consistently. You never know who's going to respond, but you have to do it every single day so they can have the opportunity to respond. So this has been great. Make sure you follow, hit the subscribe, and let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway from reaching out on day number 2. I appreciate y'all. Then stay tuned for the following video.